Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Fantasy Football Post. I'm Sid Rosenberg for OpenSports.com and the National Football Post. Let's help you get your lineup set for week number 8 of the NFL season. Here he is, my main man, the great Joe Fortenbaugh, the great fantasy expert at NF Post. Joe, good morning, buddy.
Morning, Sid. How's everything going with you?
Everything is going great. Pumped up for a big fantasy football weekend. Let's open up with a little stardom sit-em. Topping the list, Matt Forte of the Bears going against Cleveland. He has to get it done this week, right, Joe? I mean, this is the one week he's got to get it done.
It's a great game for Forte this week against the 31st ranked run defense in the league. The Browns have been torched on the ground this year. They're giving up over 70 yards a game. In addition, over 25 points a game being scored against Cleveland this season. We saw what Ryan Grant did against them last week. He went for over 140 yards with a pretty suspect offensive line. Look for Forte to get on track this weekend. If he can't get it done this weekend, he can't get it done against anyone. This is a great matchup for him.
Agreed, Joe. Joining Forte on the start list, Lions running back Kevin Smith and Rams wideout Donnie Avery play against each other, so good matchups for both. I'm a little surprised to see Kyle Orton here playing in Baltimore, Joe, against the Ravens.
Well, Detroit versus St. Louis is actually going to be the game probably no one watches this week, but it's going to be a great fantasy matchup. Two suspect defenses. You've got Kevin Smith going up against the Rams, 27th ranked run defense this season, over 130 yards a game they're giving up. They're also allowing more than 30 points a game. Opposing offenses have been able to get the running game going against them. Kevin Smith is a strong start. As far as Donnie Avery is concerned, same situation. Detroit giving up over 31 points a game. The defense has been lit up through the skies this year. Game should be relatively high scoring, so a lot of players in this game could have a solid fantasy impact. Moving to Kyle Orton, he's coming off the bye week. He's traveling to Baltimore. Owners in deeper leagues need to take a look at him this week. Baltimore ranks 23rd against the pass this season. Teams have found a lot of success going to the air against them. This is not the same unit we all remember from the last decade that has been so stout on defense and has done such a great job limiting their opponents. The cornerbacks are vulnerable. They can be beaten through the air. Orton's a good start.
Joe, now let's see who you're benching for this week. I guess 49ers rookie Michael Crabtree's debut, not impressive enough to crack your starting lineup this week, Joe.
It was good. 5 receptions for 56 yards against Houston was good, but this is a much different matchup. They're heading to Indianapolis this week. The Colts are 6th in the league against the pass. In addition, they're giving up less than 13 points a game, Sid. They're going to be very aggressive up front against the 49ers offensive line that has struggled to protect. I like the fact that Alex Smith is in the lineup. There's also a good possibility for garbage time numbers, but it's not a reliable play this weekend against a Colts defense that has played very well against the pass this year.
All right, fair enough, Joe. Joining Crabtree on the sideline are the Ryan Grant of the Packers taking on the Vikings, Justin Fargas of the Raiders going up against San Diego, and you're also not liking Matt Hasselbeck, Seahawks quarterback's chances in Dallas this week.
No, Hasselbeck's playing behind a relatively banged-up offensive line. He was sacked 5 times 2 weeks ago against the Arizona Cardinals. Seattle's going to hit the road and play at Dallas this week. Dallas's defense coming off a very, very impressive performance against Atlanta. They got to Matt Ryan 4 times. They knocked him down. They beat him up. They threw off his rhythm, all day long. They're going to watch the tape from 2 weeks ago, what Arizona did to Seattle. They're going to do the same thing. Very aggressive up front. They're going to be in Hasselbeck's face. It's going to be a tough game for him. Regarding Ryan Grant, very tough matchup against Minnesota's front four with the Williams Wall, Jared Allen, and Ray Edwards. He last time in week 4 when he played Minnesota, he was able to pick up 51 yards on the ground, also had 50 yards receiving, but only has 103 total receiving yards on the year. You can't count on him to make plays in the passing game. So as far as Ryan Grant's concerned, this is going to be a tough matchup for him this week against Minnesota. Justin Fargas, he's been okay this year. A lot of owners have liked him as a flex player, but he's only averaging 3.8 yards per carry, hasn't gone over 100 yards, hasn't scored a touchdown, is going to play a San Diego team on the road that's coming off a good win, good run performance against Larry Johnson and the Chiefs. If San Diego's offense gets up early, Oakland's going to have to throw. The running game's going to be out the window. I don't like Fargas this weekend.
All right, Joe, it's fantasy pick'em time. Joe, I'll give you 2 players. You tell me who you'd rather have to start, who's going to have the better fantasy day. Let's start with Bills running back Marshawn Lynch versus Houston, or Colts running back Joseph Adai versus San Francisco.
Let's go with Adai versus San Francisco. With Donald Brown nursing the sprained shoulder, he might not play this week. Adai's going to see a healthy dose of touches. He can make plays in the passing game as well. Even if San Francisco limits him on the ground, somehow, some way, the Colts always figure out how to get Adai into the end zone. He scored a touchdown in every game except one this year. Adai's the strong start.
Dolphins running back Ricky Williams versus the Jets, or the rookie for the Eagles, LaShawn McCoy versus the football Giants.
This is a good matchup for both. Both guys are going to have a tough outing, but it's a good matchup in terms of the pick'em today. I'm going to have to go with Ricky Williams. I like McCoy. I like the fact that he's stepping in, and I think he'll see more touches. Giants have played well on defense this year, but Williams in that Wildcat against the Jets, they were able to solve him for the first time. Ronnie Brown went crazy. It's too potent of an offense and a rushing attack. Williams is good for the big play. I'll go with him.
All right, Joe, Eagles wide receiver Deshaun Jackson versus the Giants, or Jacksonville wide receiver Mike Sims-Walker versus Tennessee.
I like Deshaun Jackson a lot this week. The Eagles use him several different ways, but I've got to go with Mike Sims-Walker against a Tennessee defense that has gotten lit up through the skies this year. Both receivers have good matchups. Both receivers should have a good day, but Sims-Walker has more upside.
Bears quarterback Jay Cutler versus the Browns, Joe, or Dallas quarterback Tony Romo versus Seattle.
Tony Romo this week. He's coming off a solid week. He's got a lot of weapons. He's found a new one in Miles Austin. They're at home. It's a good game against the Seattle defense that has struggled against the pass this year. Cutler's a strong play against Cleveland, but they might be content to keep it on the ground. Weather could always come into play there as well. I like Romo this week.
On the way out here, Joe, going to do it to you again. The marquee matchup this Sunday, Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers versus the Vikings, or Brett Favre's homecoming for Minnesota against Green Bay.
Both quarterbacks should have another good outing. Green Bay is going to throw against the cover two defense of Minnesota. And again, Favre is going to look to exploit the secondary of Green Bay. Good matchups both way around. I'm going to take Favre again this week, Sid. I know it's tough. I know a lot of people like Rodgers at home, but I think Favre's going to shock him a little bit.
All right, fantastic. There you go. Big matchup, Packers and the Vikings. As always, Joe, terrific job. We'll see you again next Tuesday for more fantasy coverage right here on the Fantasy Football Post. Joe, you're the absolute best. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Sid. Enjoy the Eagles-Giants game this weekend.
I will. Let's go blue. Remember, I know you like the Eagles, buddy. I know. Remember, you can also follow Joe on Twitter at Joe Fortenbaugh. That's Baugh for more great fantasy updates, plus his great writing each and every day at nfpost.com. For my man Joe Fortenbaugh, I'm Sid Rosenberg. And as always, folks, enjoy the football.